Hey guys, I'm Tiger, and I'm going to teach you about C++. This is the final part of the C++ basics video, and if you haven't checked out the previous parts, go check them out, and they are linked in the description. Hit that like button if you learned anything new in this video, and click that subscribe button if you want to see more videos on C++. Now, introduction to expressions. So an expression is a combination of literals, variables, operation, and explicit functions that produces an output called the result. So when the expression is executed, different parts of the expression gets evaluated by the order defined by the order of operations until there is a result. This process is called evaluation. The expressions do not end with a semicolon, so they cannot execute by themselves. Whenever there is an expression that can be evaluated in compile time, the compiler will automatically replace the expression with the result. So 2 plus 3 automatically gets replaced with 5 in your program. So basically, these are examples expression statements. 2 gets evaluated to 2, and then the value 2 is discarded. 2 plus 3 evaluates to 5, and then the value 5 is discarded. And then 2 plus 3 times 4. Multiplication goes before addition, so 3 times 4 equals 12. 2 plus 12 equals 14, and then the value 14 is discarded. And then over here we have x equals 2 times 5. A multiplication goes before assignment, so 2 times 5 equals 10, so x gets set to 10. And then the value of 10 is discarded, but 10 is also saved in x. And then for this hello world, it actually gets evaluated from left to right. So stdcout and hello world actually evaluates to stdcout. So basically, for insertion and extraction operators, it evaluates to the left-hand side while it does its stuff. So basically, this also prints hello world to the console, and then it does the same thing with stdcout and stdnl, and then it prints a new line, and then it's flushed, and then the stdcout as the result of the over here is also discarded. Now, developing your first program. So throughout this video, we have learned
enough terminology and concepts to create a basic program.
So let's make a program that asks the user to enter 2 integers and print the sum of the 2 integers. So over here, we have an example of the output, and then the green is the input. So if asked for the first integer, the user inputs the first integer, and asks for the second integer, the user inputs the second integer, and then it outputs the result. So just like how every programming language should be dealt, we're going to tackle this project step by step. And it is recommended that you pause the video, create a C++ project, and try to do this project as you continue watching, and try not to copy the code into your project. Pause the video when I go over the steps if you need more time. So step 1, setting up the basic scaffolding. You've probably created a console project by now and have opened it up. If your IDE haven't created a main function and included the IOStream for you, create the main function and include the IOStream library. This is what your program should look like when you start. And for some IDEs, it also has the hello world print statement over there. Just delete that statement. The next step is to get user input and then store the values in 2 variables. As I stated earlier in the video, the user has to hit enter, which create a new line, so when you ask for input, you don't print a new line. So don't mix up the insertion operator and extraction operator. It actually produces an error if you mix them up. And then print out these 2 inputs to see whether they have the right value. And this is for debugging, and then compile and run to see what everything works so far. And if you get a compiler error, look for the line number the error is found. It's between the parentheses right after the file name. And analyze the error message as it may give insight on what type of mistake is made. Remember, the mistake may be on the previous lines, like for missing semicolons. So if you need help, post your code and the error message in the comment section, and I or someone else can help you, but make sure you try to fix it first. Here's our program. So it takes the user's input and then puts it in value 1, value 2, and then we're printing out its values to see if the values are read. And then if everything's working for now, like and user input 3 and 4, it prints out value 1 is 3, value 2 is 4. Now step 3, calculate and print the result. So now that both variables have stored the user input, it's time to calculate the sum and print the result. There are many ways to do this step, but I'm going to increase the first variable's value by the second variable's value and print out the first variable. So when you're done, run the program. If you encounter an error, look at the error message, find the line where the error has occurred and try to fix it. And if you encounter errors you can't fix, you can always post your code and error message in the comment section. So here's our sample program, and then we replace that code, or you can comment it out. It was our calculation, so it prints the sum of value 1 and value 2 is, and then we calculate it, and then we print out the value. The primary goal of programming is to make your program work. It doesn't matter how well written the code is if it doesn't work. However, if we focus too much on how to make our programs work, we take shortcuts and skip our error handling and comments, and we leave debugging code everywhere that helps us find and fix errors. Sometimes we figure out that an approach that we're using does not work, and we have to backtrack and use another approach. And the end result is usually a poorly structured, error-prone, hard to read, and unconcise code. So unless a program is a throwaway, the next step is to clean up. This step includes removing or commenting out debugging code, adding comments, adding error handling code, and ensuring best practices are followed. So it is very rare to get a perfect program on the first try. The programs get near perfect as multiple refinements are made. The code on the right shows two possible refinements to the code displayed on the previous slide. The comments indicating the refinements are just for your reference. You don't need to add them into your program. So over here, the first refinement that we can make is splitting this into two lines. Of course, the refinements you're going to make are going to be different from mine because you have written your program differently than mine, hopefully, unless if you copied everything. And then the second refinement that I can make is 2A and 2B. I split it into two because they're kind of like the same refinement. The first one is storing the sum in a new variable, because it's confusing to store the sum of value 1 and value 2 in value 1. And also, if we're going to use value 1 later in the program, we don't have that user input anymore. Over here, it says the sum of value 1 and value 2 is, and then we put value 1 equals value 1 plus value 2, and then we could print out value 1. Oh, well, that's the original. And then when we fix it, it's going to be basically we declare sum, and then we print out the sum. And then refinement 2B is you don't even need a variable to store the sum. We can just put that directly in our statement here. So like the sum of value 1 and value 2 is what value 1 plus value 2. So thank you for watching, and make sure you fully understand each concept in this video. If you get stuck, remember to leave a comment about whatever you're stuck on so that someone can help you. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.